Hey guys, in this video, I'm going to show you how to install the spool high-speed bearings. I've got a reel here. I'm about to give you a full in-depth. It's not going to take very long. It only takes, 4 or 5 minutes to do each reel, but I'm going to talk you through it and show you exactly how to swap these out to get the maximum performance out of your reel with the spool high-speed bearings. Let's go. All right, so here's what you're going to need. You're going to need your bearings, obviously. I keep a little tool like this with me, handy. And then I've got some oil to put on the bearings. And then this little tool right here, it's an odd little contraption. This comes from Spool Speed. It's something they have made. It's got a pin on one end with threads, and then it's just got threads on the other end. And this is just a pusher, and it threads right into this little tool right here. But I'll show you how this works. So I pop the spool out of this reel, and you can see it's got the spool pin right there. All right, so what we're going to do is one end of this is larger than the other end. So you're going to take this and put your pusher on the small end. So you're going to push the big end out, and you just slide it right down over the spool like that and line it up. It's got a little bitty hole right here where you're going to push that pin right out into that tray. So hold everything, and then you're just going to tighten down the little deal here, and you're going to watch it inside here. You'll see it slide over there. It'll push it against that, and then you just work it out like that right there. And then you take this out. You have to rotate it over because it won't push it all the way through with the blunt end. So you got to get the pin end and then thread it in there. I love the way it threads in. It keeps everything nice and still and straight. And then you just line it up. Make sure you've got it square, straight, so you don't bend your pin or anything like that. And you can see it coming out right here. And it falls right out in your little tray built into your tool. And then you thread it out. Slide your tool off of it, and your little pin stays in there. And then you can see right there, that's the first bearing that we're going to swap, and it just literally slides right off the spool. Now, you want to make sure you get the right size, and he has kits on the website, so you know you're getting the right size for your reel. So, one size you can actually see the side, you can see the bearings in there. The other side's got like a little rubber band thing covering the bearings. I'm going to put it where I can see the bearings, and you can set it down beside that one and tell that it's the same size. So then we're going to reverse the process. Slide it right down over there. Make sure it's all the way seated. I'm going to go ahead and take my oil. Just put one drop down in there. I don't think you need to put much, but one drop. And I do have line on this reel, so I'm kind of fighting that. I would recommend doing it before you put line on it, but that's not where we're at, so it's not what we're going to do. Now, I'm going to take this pin right here. And this pin, again, it's larger on one end than the other. So I'm going to find the hole there in the spool shaft. I'm going to just get it started, just kind of push it in there by hand, not push it hard, just get it started. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it around this way. You can see it sticking out, and all you're trying to do is get it even. So set my spool back down on the table, and I'm going to start going real slow with the pusher and just tightening it in there, and it's just moving it in a little bit at a time. And once you do a couple of them, you can start feeling how close 50% is. You're just trying to get it 50%. So I'll look in there, I can tell it still lacks a little bit being enough. Make sure you have everything straight. Push it a little further. Boom. Halfway in, halfway out, and there's one. That's one of the bearings. I'll fix that line and all that here in just a second. Super easy to do that. This tool right here that he sells is well worth the money to change these out. Now for the side bearing. This one is a little bit different, and you got to kind of be careful because it has a little clip over here, and that's why I use this little tool, and I'll put my thumb over it and just kind of work it out. It's got a little keeper clip, and it flipped out of there and I dropped it. So now I got to find this clip, which it's right here, luckily. So I'm just going to pick it up, make sure it's clean, put it back right there on my towel. That's one reason why I would suggest, and I didn't do it on this one, but I will on the next ones, because I'm swapping all these reels with these bearings. So instead of using this to flick that off, I'm going to go get some tweezers, make it a very, very simple process. So this bearing that's in the reel right there should just come right out, but I'm going to use this pick, and it just flicks right out just like that. Super easy. Now these are different sizes, and if you buy a kit, it's like for this 13 reel here, it's going to come with 2 different size bearings. The smaller one goes in the side, and again, I'm going to use the side where I can actually see the bearings, and it's not hard. It just slides right down in there, fits right down in there perfectly where I can see it. I'm going to put 1 dot of oil on it. And then we've got to put our keeper back in there. Now, again, I'm going to use tweezers on the next ones, but just sit it in there like so. Make sure the back end is in there. Got a little flathead screwdriver here too that you can use. You could hear it right there just snap in. It's got a little track. When your bearing is pushed all the way down in there, that little clip, that little keeper clip on top of it, fall right in that track and clip right in. Very easy process. Again, now we got to get this spool. I kind of made a mess out of this. So what I'll do is I'll pull all this line off of it like that, and then I'm going to pull it through towards the tip of the rod, which is laying down here on the ground. I didn't even cut the bait off of it. And then once you get it pulled up here tight, you can ease it up in there, and be careful not to pinch your line on the edge of your spool right there if you do have line on there. And then just slowly do everything slowly. Use caution. Clean out that backlash. Now here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to reel it all up. Got it all reeled up right there. Grab my rod. I just laid it on the ground so it'd be easier to keep up with that way, and I wouldn't even have to cut the bait off of it. I'm going to tighten her down there, and that's it. She is ready to go. Got all new Spool Speed XCR bearings. Very, very easy install. It's going to make this thing rip, and I can't hardly wait. So appreciate you guys watching. Follow along. We're going to have a lot more content coming. Some will be about fishing, some won't, just like the last video about cleaning my shotgun. I think that's just things that, you know, people overlook. Things like this right here, putting bearings in your reel. Spool high-speed bearings, super easy process. Check them out.